One of the great privileges of being a Part 107 certified remote pilot is that you can fly in more places than a recreational pilot can. If you're a drone pilot in Guam, chances are that a lot of your drone operations fall in Guam's Class D airspace where you need authorization to fly. Getting authorization to fly within this 5-mile wide airspace has gotten so easy with the introduction of LANs. This basically breaks up the big Class D airspace into smaller grids with a number inside each grid, which essentially tells you how high you can fly in feet above ground level. And you can get instantaneous authorization, whereas before you had to go through the manual process of submitting an application online for a COA or certificate of authorization, which can take up to 90 days to get an approval for. So you can imagine a lot of drone pilots were extremely happy when this was introduced. But there are certain areas called the zero grid areas where you're not able to get that same instantaneous authorization. And you have to go through the manual way of applying for a COA. And these zero grid areas are areas closest to the airport or directly above the airport. So it actually makes sense to have these areas more restrictive, right? And as I said earlier, one of the benefits of being a Part 107 pilot is that you can apply for a COA to fly in these zero grid areas and be able to take drone shots that most pilots wouldn't be able to get otherwise. But in this video, and the reason why I'm making this video in the first place, is to give some guidance on communicating with ATC. Once you're approved for your COA, more than likely you'll be required to call ATC prior to your drone ops and then to call them again right after your drone ops is complete. So I wanted to share some tips and prepare you for this kind of call. And the first one to understand is that you're not calling to get airspace authorization from ATC. This confuses so many people, including myself when I first started. ATC's job is not to approve or deny your airspace authorizations. Their job is to keep the airspace safe for all aircraft. So when you call them, you should already have the authorization and you're notifying or informing them about your operation so that they can be aware of all aircraft, yours included, in a given area. Remember, drones are classified as aircraft, which brings me to my second point. You need to be very clear and brief when you're telling them about your drone operation. They don't have all day to listen to your drawn out story. They don't need to know who you're flying it for or what kind of creative shots that you'll be getting. So here's what they do need to know. They need to know your name, a full name, best contact number, a backup number if you have, the location of your flight, operating time, altitude you'll be flying in, flight radius, and if you already have that approved COA. If you do have an approved COA, they'll already have it on their end, so don't try to lie here. Get all these information out to them in 45 seconds to 1 minute. Keep it brief. Keep it straight to the point. Here's the script that I created for you that you can follow when you call ATC. So I thought it would be a great idea to give you a real life example. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna call ATC. We're in a zero grid area here in Tumon at the rooftop of our office. So that means that we need a COA to fly here. And I already have a COA for this area. So the next step is to notify ATC before I fly. And when I call ATC, it's actually gonna be a lot shorter because I've been calling them for years and years, and they already have most of my information, and they already know who I am. So rather than repeating the things that they already know and have, what I need to tell them are things that they don't know. So that is the flight parameters, the location, the time, and also the AGL, because those things change from mission to mission. So let's go ahead and call them and let them know those three things. Put it on speaker. Become ATC. Hi, good afternoon. This is Lee. I'm just calling to inform you about my drone operation here in Tumon at the Pacific Bay Hotel. We're going to be flying from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. and our AGL is going to be at or below 300 feet. And I'll give you guys a call once I'm all done. All right, thank you. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. It's really simple. It's really straight to the point. So now that we have our COA, we cleared it with ATC. All that's next is to fly the drone. Okay, that pretty much wraps up our day. The one last thing that we need to do is to call back ATC and let them know that we're all done. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. Put it on speaker again. Hi, this is Lee again. I'm just calling to let you know that my drone operation's all done. Alright, thank you. That's really all there is to this. It's not a complicated process. A lot of first-time callers tend to be very nervous when they call ATC, but really they're just regular guys like you and I, and their job is to keep the airspace safe and guide air traffic. So they'll actually be very appreciative of your call because you're helping them in their job by informing them of your flight. Hope this was helpful to those who are trying to fly in zero grid areas. This video was inspired by our friend and newly certified drone pilot Josh Miller, who asked me for my help with this. And I'm sure there's a lot more guys like Josh who wants to do things right and legally, and I hope this video helped. And always feel free to reach out if you need any further guidance.